Until a company actually gets held to a standard of having to turn a profit, they are always going to burn through more money than they have. And so Uber just keeps taking in all this money, but not actually able to show anything for it. That's not a business. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Neil Winter with Matterhorn Business Development here. And today I am joined with my special guest, Dr. Greg Winteregg, CEO of Matterhorn Business Development, author. So today, if this is your first time here, one of the things that I like to do is kind of surprise him with articles or ideas or things I find online that are interesting, and then we talk about it from a business perspective. So
he pretends that he's surprising me. He's actually just getting even for the way I raised him.
Something along that line. If you guys go back to one of the very first business newsrooms, actually the very first business newsroom that we did was about the stupid Uber evaluation. And people laughed at us because we didn't understand how valuations work.
Exactly.
But we were right. And
as usual,
I found somebody who also agrees with us.
No.
Yes.
One other loser out there?
Yeah, a real big loser. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk.
All right, we're doing something right.
We are doing something right. So Gary V, and I'm going to leave a link to this post in the description. It's on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And he has a video, but he says the truth is most startups today aren't actual businesses. They're financial arbitrage machines. In other words, they're entirely built on raising the next round of capital or financing, not on making profit or actual business principles. Then there's a video. It's about 1.5 minutes, and it says, why is raising money celebrated more than making money?
Now, financial arbitrage means just a bit of a machine that just generates the money with no particular product. Sort of a scam kind of a concept.
Sort of, yeah. And in the video that he has in the post, which you guys should watch, he's talking about at a tech presentation, these companies standing up and going, oh, I have this website and I fundraised $8 million, and people clap, and then, oh, we fundraised $20 million, and people clap harder, and then somebody stands up and goes, oh, well, we have this website and we haven't been able to fundraise anything, but we got some exposure and we signed on some clients and they actually made money, and nobody claps. And he's kind of offended by that, right? And I love the clip because it really speaks about what we talk about, where this Silicon Valley idea about generating all this money to go into something doesn't create a business, which is why so many of them fail, even with all this money that they have.
Right. So there's all of this venture capital, angel money going into a company that just has a bit of a fuzzy concept with no production, no clients, no product.
Yeah. So let's look at Yelp, for instance.
Okay.
We've talked about Yelp several times, and I've learned quite a bit about it. But the person who started Yelp, I forget his name offhand, but anyway, he says, hey, I have this idea.
Yeah.
And it's called Yelp, and it's a review website, and everybody's like, great, and he gets all this money.
Okay.
Right? But then it's like, well, how are we going to make money? Because they have investors that they have to satisfy.
So there was this fuzzy concept, but no real product was developed.
Right.
Okay.
So then,
how much money did they get? Do you remember?
I forget. But I'm just saying from a concept, $100 million or whatever it was.
Okay, whatever it was.
So they get this ingestion of cash, and now it's like, well, now what do we do? How do we make money?
Wow.
So that's how they turned to advertising, was to satisfy their investors and their stocks and all this other stuff.
Right.
Because they didn't actually have they had a great idea, an online review website. That's a fantastic idea.
Right.
But how is that a business?
Right.
Well, it's not, but you've already taken in tens of millions of dollars from investors.
Wow.
So Uber, same way. It started off with a bunch of billionaires giving out the idea and signing up their buddies, and then it kept going and going and going, and now today they are lauded for only losing several $100 million.
Well, I just yesterday read an article that in the last quarter, they had their best month ever. No, excuse me, their best quarter ever in losses.
Yes.
Let's celebrate. Let's pop the cork. They lost $5.2 billion in a quarter.
Yeah, their stocks are crashed. Everything's down because after all these years they still don't know how to make money.
They can't make a profit.
Until a company actually gets held to a standard of having to turn a profit,
right.
they are always going to burn through more money than they have. And so Uber just keeps taking in all this money, but not actually able to show anything for it. That's not a business.
That's not a business.
At that point. It's a great investment opportunity if you got in on it on day one and you're a genius because you invested in Uber, but they still can't turn a profit.
So what Gary is saying here is he actually agrees with us.
Yes.
You can go out and you can be this awesome capital
You can be a great fundraiser
and bring all this money in, but he actually respects the smaller company that he was
profit.
that actually had customers, had a product, and made money.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been saying all along.
And it's very interesting when you think about like Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Very few people go into the tank having pre-raised money at valuations and actually walk out with a deal.
Yep.
Sometimes they do, but usually the sharks are mad because they're getting a worse valuation than the first round. So they always want the deal at the first round rates, and those guys can't do it. So it usually fails. But from a business perspective, it doesn't make any sense, which is why they usually walk out with no deal.
Yeah, and I saw an episode just not long ago. They had a $10 million valuation on this company.
Yeah.
And they'd already borrowed $7 million. So 70% of the company was already gone.
Yeah.
And so the two people standing in front of the sharks only have 30% of the company. They couldn't even broker the offer without getting on the phone and calling somebody.
Yeah.
And
it's not your company anymore.
No, it's not your company anymore, so just leave.
Yeah. So the idea that a business is successful just because of how much money it can fundraise is very anti what we believe in, because we believe in that until you actually have a service or a product that you can take money in for and provide to people at a profitable rate, you don't have a business yet.
And the key word is profit.
Profitable rate.
It has to be able to make a profit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just sucking cash, sucking capital.
If we were in charge of Uber, okay, we might not be worldwide.
Right.
We might only be in the US and we might have half the drivers that we have now, but we would have profit.
Right.
Right. And that is something that people, this is what we talk about, is just like, just because you can fundraise money doesn't mean anything. And that's why all these.
So here's to me what it all boils back to. And I talk about this in my book, Fun at Work.
That's right.
Which you can buy at funatworkthebook.com or go to Amazon. What's the purpose of the business? And what you're talking about to me, and I don't know any of these players, I don't know any of these people.
I don't either.
The purpose is to make money.
Right.
Raise money, not even to provide a product or service. If you're going to go out and you can prove that I can con rich people to give me $100 million.
Yeah.
What's that purpose? It's just to be a con man and
and that's why I like Gary Vee's approach, because
I love it.
He's a player in these fields.
Yep.
But he also looks at it as being like, okay, so
it's a joke.
You fundraised tens of millions of dollars, but what did you do?
Yeah.
And
I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
That's his view. Neither are we.
And that's it's like we have to get back to basics with a business.
Yep.
If you can go out and make a profit, you have something. If you keep taking in as many hundreds of millions of dollars, I don't even know what the Uber amount is right now. Right. It's ridiculous. But if you can take in that much money and still not be able to turn a profit, there's something fundamentally wrong with your model.
Well, and here is, to me, the fundamentally wrong thing is, who are you helping?
Right.
The purpose of your business must be to help your customer solve a problem.
The only people that have been helped are the guys who got in on the initial investments that rode that wave of profit and then sold out or whatever.
And they're going to walk away with tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's who it helped. It's almost like some sort of a pyramid scam. The last guy to get in is going to lose the most, and the first guy to get in is going to make the most. That's not a business. The purpose of the business has to be to help your prospective customer solve a problem. Whether it's business to business, business to consumer, whatever it might be, what problem are you solving for the person who is buying your product or service? End of debate.
Yes.
If the purpose of the business is just go out and raise a bunch of money so you can retire and ride off and buy your yacht or whatever, then it's a scam.
Yeah, and it just doesn't add up to being an actual viable business model.
Exactly. So, we caution everyone to not to be so impressed with all of these big numbers, and do not use those as models for your business. The model for your business should be, what's the problem of my prospective customer that I am solving? End of debate. That's the purpose of the company. And then be a good owner and learn how to do that really well and make a profit.
Yeah.
Now you've got something.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
impressive.
That's when you have built something.
Yep.
That's when you've really built something.
You know what I'd like is I'd like for people who have done that to comment. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but to say, hey, this is what I did. I started this, I started that, you know.
Yeah.
I was 12 years old or I was 62 years old before. I mean, Colonel Sanders didn't get his deal until he was like in his early 60s. So send us comments, send us stories, we'll acknowledge you. And that's very
We
well
already
done.
know we're two idiots that don't know valuations, so you don't have to leave that comment.
If it makes you feel better, go ahead, but you're not going to hurt our feelings.
You might hurt mine.
Neil only has one left.
Yeah, we've already established I've only got the one, you know. Yeah. All right, good. So that's going to bring us to the end of today. Gary Vee will probably never actually see us talk about it, but if you do, thumbs up, man. It's people like you that actually bring about awareness to the fact that sometimes what we're told about business is not always correct.
Exactly.
So if you're new here, leave a like, subscribe. We'll see you next week.